kiss and tell. What I can tell you is that I don't kiss.
All about Harvey Guillén.
So you'll make me into a vampire?
Did I promise that?
You did, 11 years ago.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Don't cry out loud.
Last tree, and down. Oh no. This is the worst day of my life.
Well, I'm just glad you're not annoyed with me for overstaying my welcome.
You know, vampires have their own mannerisms.
I got to do all the stunts. It was started as a test. Like, can you fall off of that box? And I was like, sure. Can you stab this human? I was like, of course.
These actors are amazing. Like, you can just throw them anything and they'll just bounce off each other.
Silence, Guillermo.
So I'll be back for good someday to make my mark and make my way, but for the day I'll travel and
I've asked you nicely to leave. I'm calling security.
I've been doing this for a while, but like, it's like the most Hollywood story ever. Thank you for the opportunity.
Welcome to Meet the Biz. The first time I saw this man, I thought, damn, I mean, he's amazing. He's breathtaking. And the more I hear about him and read about him and see the success that he's been through, it's actually getting me a little teared up because I cast in a movie a few years back, and to see from then, I mean, I cast him in this movie called Big Gay Love, and since then, before then, he was doing work, and now he's exploded. He's worked for Disney, 19 episodes of the Mickey Mouse Funhouse, the TV series Reacher. He's been nominated for the Critics' Choice Award. He was on Zoe's extraordinary playlist, huge. Okay, one of my favorites, The Magicians, The Thundermans, Eye Candy, the Emmy-nominated series that he's on now, What We Do in the Shadows. I have to say, this man is, I thought of it this morning when I was reading an article that just came out. This man is love, and he's here today. Harvey Guillén.
Hello. That's so nice and so kind, and you know, riches of compliments that are very nice, and thank you. And I'm so happy to be here with all of you today. Thank you for inviting me and let me be a part of the class today.
Oh my gosh! Well, thank you. I know. I mean, you are busy. How do you deal with the busyness of this industry?
I mean, busy's good. I feel that for so long, you know, being an actor and being a person of color, and being queer, and being a person of size, this industry is easy to make strikes against anyone who's different, anyone who looks different, who comes from a different background. So it tends to be even harder for people like us to break in through the business and have consistency and have some kind of ongoing work, because, you know, this business is very fickle. It's the highs are highs and the lows are lows. But yeah, I like staying busy, and eventually when I first started auditioning for stuff, I wasn't booking anything because I was being put in categories that I wasn't right for, or quote unquote didn't fit the mold. And so I got tired of waiting around for someone to tell me that I had value. And so I started creating my own work. I started writing. I started collaborating with other artists who were also being overlooked. And And then through that word of mouth, you start getting recognition, and people start recognizing your work. And it's like, weren't you that guy in that small part in that, film, or in that part of that show? And then it kind of grows. I think this business is not necessarily about talent. Talent is great, and it's I think it's necessary. But I really think this business is about tenacity, and tenacity to keep going. Because I mean, it can get hard sometimes to hear no's every day. Most actors will hear more no's in 1 week than a non-actor will hear in a lifetime, because career-wise and job-wise. So you'll go to 4 auditions maybe in a week, and you get a call back for 2, and you're on hold for 1, and then you don't get it. So it's always like so close, so close, so close, so far, so close. And so I think people get defeated easily, and you have to have a thick skin to be in this business, because people get, disillusioned or disheartened with the idea that acting's for them, or
how do you keep your center? How do you keep that?
I think for me, it's I always keep my focus on my goal, which is always that I want to create and tell a story. And so I would be happy and satisfied if I was doing it for a box seat for 99 people, or I would be happy to do it for a multi-million-dollar film. So my performance will never change. If it was the same script on both ends, it would be the same performance, because it should always be the same performance, whether you're getting paid a lot of money to do it or you're getting paid nothing at all. Because you should do acting, or you should be an actor because you love it, and not because of the fame or the fortune. Because if that's what you want to do, then acting is not what you want to be. You don't want to be an actor. You want to be famous, and there's a difference. There's a difference between famous, and there's a difference between wanting to be an actor. Because if you want to be an actor, you'd be satisfied doing a play at the local community theater or whatnot. But if you want to be famous, that's different. But to ground myself in center, I always give myself performance either way. But my goal is like to live a life where I'm creating characters and telling stories. So that's my goal, and that keeps me focused.
I remember when you came in for the audition, when I first met you, you like blew me away. I was like, you have so many levels in your acting. How do you approach a role? Like when you go in for an audition, how do you like get there?
I take the script or the sides that are given and try to get some backstory of what this character is or where they come from. I learn the lines so they're in me, so they don't become an obstacle, that it's like a hurdle, because then that's the first part that people are like, oh, I have to memorize lines. So memorizing the lines, once they're in me, then they become just like dialogue that's organic to the character that I'm developing. So then the mannerisms will come out of it. The choices when I'm talking, the speech pattern. Once you get those lines in you, and you know what your character is and where you want to place them, then you start there, and that's the root of it. And then you kind of blossom out, and then it makes this character come to life, because that's a completely new human being you gave birth to on the spot, using yourself as the vessel. So I tend to go to that way, and then find the humor. Sometimes you can, it's your job as an actor to make the writing, which could be great already and could also not be great, always be great either way. Like it's your job as an actor to sell the writing that sometimes you get scripts, you're like, oh, I don't know, this is not, here's what I'll do. I'll make this a pause there, and that'll kind of sell this line into, so it is like a lot of work, a lot of homework, trying to make whatever you present be like commercial and buyable, I guess you will, because sometimes it's hard when you read a script, and if it's not written out perfectly for you, which is easy, you just read out the lines and it's perfect. But sometimes it's hard when you get something like, okay, I got to make this work. And how do I make this work? Is I got to put more work into it. So, and that's fine. That's part of the process as an actor.
Right. Was there, when you were younger, was there one moment you said, I want that. I want to be like that on TV or in film? Did somebody change, like, ooh, this is it?
Well, for me growing up, there wasn't that many people who looked like me on television. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of role models in the silver screen or the small screen or the big screen, because when I was coming up, there was not a lot of plus size Latinos, especially not queer Latinos, um, on TV and screen. And if they were people of size, they were usually the butt of the jokes, and they were usually the punching bag, which wasn't aspirational to someone who's young. And so when you don't see yourself on television, and you get discouraged because it's telling you, this box that we look at home that gives us information about the weather, news, entertainment, money woes, political parties. It gives you all the information in this box, but it doesn't represent you, and it doesn't show you. And so it's very discouraging because it makes you feel that there's no space for you, and there's no, and if that's the case, then you feel like, what's going on? Like, am I not valued and as a person, or I don't see myself on screen? So is my background, is my being not valued, does my value go down because I'm not on TV? And so I realized that if I don't see myself on television, then you become the first, then you have to fight because someone else is going to think the same thing. So hopefully the work that I've done, there's somebody who's like, looking at that and saying, yeah, okay, if he can do it, I can do it. And it's like, absolutely. So if I can leave the door even ajar, is already worth all the struggles.
It's interesting. I'm taking you in, and it makes me think of the article I read earlier today that you posted. Mariposa, is that butterfly, and that article about you being the beautiful one that you are, and I related to it, and it was such a even see, I can't speak now because I'm like tongue-tied at how the way you present yourself and you share yourself. The thing about you, and I won't always talk about what I'm feeling about, but you are a healer, not just an actor. You heal through your work and through your self, and that is what's so beautiful about you. And everybody needs to. That was that Esquire, the article?
Yes, it was an article that I wrote for Esquire, lining up with this week's episode of Guillermo coming out to his family, where shooting that episode was very triggering because it kind of reminded me of my own experience of coming out. And so I wrote it down for Esquire and share my experience, which I usually don't share too much personal stuff. For the longest time, I didn't want to be made into a martyr. I didn't want to be made into victim, because I don't see myself as that, and I didn't want other people to see me as that. But I think I've shared the story in a way where it's aspirational, inspirational, where people know they're not alone, and that that you are loved, and there's space for you, and this world is so much better with you in it. And writing that was kind of cathartic and like therapeutic, because it was a reminder of like my first experience of what it was to feel made different by others, because I was always confident in my own self, my own body. It wasn't until other people told me that something was wrong. So it's always, like children are free and express themselves, and it's not somebody tells them quiet down, or someone tells like stop playing around, or someone tells them don't act like a girl, or don't act like that, or you're acting too masculine for a girl. Like you're telling children what feels wrong with them and put them in a box, and that does something to their psyche because they don't understand what you're saying. They're saying, what? This is my authentic self. Why is this bad? And we should teach kids that it's okay to be who they are, and hopefully teach kids to lead with empathy, and not to make others who are different feel that they are outsiders and they are to be excluded out of society. Because the old saying, when I think about like old stories and old Hollywood monster movies, where like the town people are chasing the monster through the town square with pitchforks and fire sticks and whatnot. And the real question, who's the monster here?
Right? We've experienced that lately in this world.
Yeah. So the question is, who's the real monster? The person being chased, or the society that has decided as a unit that this is different, this is bad, chase them out?
I see a future script for you right in that explanation. What are you most proud of in your life?
What am I most proud of? I think I'm most proud of the fact that I set out to do something, and I'm doing it now, and I'm very proud of it, but there's so much more to do. So I'm very proud that my goal is never really kind of fulfilled and accomplished. So that gives me reason every day to keep fighting and working. So I'm proud of the trajectory of my life and my career and my family. And I'm proud that someone who looks like me and came from where I came from, and that what society otherwise shun, or by statistics, I shouldn't be where I'm at. By statistics, I should be, working some random job,
Right.
By statistics, I shouldn't be in movies, and I shouldn't be on television. And I definitely shouldn't be on magazine covers, by statistics. And I pride myself in that I broke your statistics, and we're remolding the way you're seeing people in this industry with different backgrounds.
Right. We have so many people who emailed in and want to ask questions, so I want to get at least a few of them in. And I think, let's see who we could go to. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Ranjani.
Hey!
Oh, she's so excited. Ranjani.
Big fan.
Hello.
Hello, Harvey. Hey, Dave.
Hi.
I get my favorite things. Okay. Here's my question to you, because I'm Latino and you're Latino, so we got this.
Love it.
Which is your favorite between which is your favorite between the Zimmermans or my favorite Zuri Extended playlist?
Ooh, that's a tough one, but I will have to say both of them very good in their own way. I got to play a superhero, whereas usually Hollywood wouldn't let me play a superhero in Thundermans, and I got to do that. But I do have a soft spot for musical theater because I went to school for it, so I have to say Zoe's, because
Me too.
Zoe's was so fun to make, and people were surprised that I could sing and dance, and I was like, I went to school for that, and it was a nice change because I haven't done a musical in a while, so I would have to say Zoe's.
Okay. Is my second one is about us being like Latinos. Okay. What is your favorite reggaeton artist? Do you aspire? We're both Latinos. Do you dance salsa?
I do dance salsa.
Yeah.
I haven't gone dancing in a while. Reggaeton, I mean, I feel like everyone's doing a little bit of reggaeton lately, and I'm thinking of artists that I love, like Maluma and Bad Bunny, and
Hey, there you go.
hey, and I love, I have to support my one of my first films ever. My little sister was played by Becky G.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and now Becky G is like a international Latina pop star, and so I have to give out shout out to Becky G because I love her music, singing in the shower, dancing in the mirror, all of that. So I love her. But yeah, Maluma and Bad Bunny, I think are great.
Okay.
I love it. Thank you, Ranjani.
Anytime.
Thank you.
I love it. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. The other day I saw a picture of you and I thought, Hamilton the movie. I could see you, whenever they make that movie, is one of the roles. I don't know what. Did that ever cross your mind?
Yeah, I mean, Lin-Manuel is a huge fan of the show, and he introduced us at the Emmys last year, 2 years ago, but he was the one who introduced us for our Emmy nominations. And I saw him for the first time at Comic-Con season 2 of Shadows, and we're walking down a corridor, and I saw this man, and I was like, that looks like Lin, and I hear Guillermo. He like runs over and hugs me, and I was like, oh my gosh. And since then we become friends and whatnot, and he's obviously, we want to work on something together. So who knows? The possibilities are endless. But I do love Hamilton. I think I would love to play something where you wouldn't see me as. Like obviously in the stage production you see a lot of actors POC who play characters that traditionally in history were white. And then in the movie, it'd be great to like switch it around where like maybe I play the king of England.
thought of that too. I said, oh my God, I could so see you as that. That would
like
be great.
switch it up. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I like that. Well, another one of your shows that I absolutely adore is The Magicians. And I wanted to ask, what was it about that show that you loved so much?
Well, I do love when books become series. Like, my first series ever was huge, and it was a book by Sasha Paley.
Mm-hmm.
And Savannah Dooley and Winnie Holzman. Savannah, who's Winnie's daughter. Winnie, who wrote My So-Called Life and wrote 30-something and wrote the script to Wicked, the musical, which is one of my favorite musicals.
Right.
I just I love when books become series, so that became a series. Eye Candy was a book and it became a series. Magicians is a series and it became a book and it became a series. And so when I knew about the audition, and I got the audition while I was filming a movie in Vancouver, and this just goes to show how tenacity, again, like how you have to take initiative of your career, because no one's going to look after your career like you are. I don't care how many agents you have, how great your manager is. No one's going to care about your career as much as you are. You have to put investment into your career every day, whether it's, if you have enough time to go on Twitter and Instagram or Facebook and scroll for like an hour, you have enough time to go for an hour and update your resume, make new headshots, update your, anything, bio, make a connection, set up a networking night, whatnot. So I always say, gotta do something every day that pushes you forward. Otherwise, you start waiting for someone else to take initiative, and that's not going to happen unless you take the initiative.
Right.
So for that particular show, I remember I got the audition for Benedict, and I was super excited because I was like, oh, this is going to be great. It's magic, and this character is really layered, and there's secrets there, and it's great. And I was going to send my tape in because they were auditioning in LA, but I was in Vancouver. And then I got a call like the day before, like, oh no, don't worry. The casting director said, don't send your tape, don't send it. And I was like, why? They're like, because they already have options in LA. And that means that they already have some people they were considering. They're going to pick from this group of people in LA.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's not fair. I mean, I really already learned the lines, I already invested time in this. I want to really show them I can do it. And they're like, no, don't worry. They said there'll be other things for you down the line for the show and whatnot. And being stubborn as I am, I was just like, that's so not fair. I already learned this character. Wait a minute, but they shoot that show here in Vancouver. And my agent was like, yes. And I was like, so technically by SAG regulations, don't they have a Vancouver office for casting? And he was like, that's why I love you. You're always thinking ahead. And I was like, can you get me a meeting to the Vancouver office? Got me a meeting without telling the casting office in LA. Pretended that I was a Vancouver local because they're seeing locals. I go in, audition. They send the tape to the LA office. He goes, we found our guy. The producers already saw him. He's out of Vancouver. And then the casting director's like, oh, they already found someone. Let's see who it, Harvey? And that's how I got my role.
So that I love that. You really, I mean, you got to have huevos, don't you, in this business?
Yeah, you really do. Because it's like I said, no one's going to be looking after you like you are. So you have to take initiative.
Talking about the magicians, I got a little surprise for you today. A dear friend of ours who comes to performing arts once in a while, a friend of mine, and I think she's here. Is she here?
Hey, Harvey.
Oh my gosh. Yay. Hi.
Hi. Yay.
Oh my gosh. There she is, everybody. Jade Taylor.
Oh my God. Reunion
Reunion. I
time.
love hearing that story, Harvey. I haven't actually heard that one.
That's how I That's why I book magicians. Can you believe that?
I love that so much. I think that's such a beautiful lesson for everyone, just like how much it really takes you taking the initiative. So thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. Beautiful. Happy
Oh,
to see your face.
I know. Thanks for joining me. I
And
didn't
you looked
expect you.
fabulous at the award show the other night.
Oh my gosh, well, that's another example of like how, when you look at old Hollywood and it's always the same mold of beautiful starlets, you never saw a lot of POC. So we're the new Hollywood. So we're the new old Hollywood, and so I decided to glam up like it was 1933 and reinvent how we see actors on the carpet. And this time around, more people of color.
Yes, absolutely. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks stunning.
So I'm glad you loved it. We were just talking about your other favorite show, which was, we were talking about this. So a lot of people may not know this, but Jade is an incredible singer. And we were so lucky, to hear a little bit of that in Magicians, but I was always wanting to get her on Zoe's. And
I know, same.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, and thank you too, Jade. I mean, Jade came in and performed at the Catalina Jazz Club for one of our benefits for Meet the Biz.
That's so cool.
What a voice! And last week, your dad, your stepdad came on and we showed your video.
Oh, that's so sweet. My stepdad's a musician.
Oh,
very well known in the music community, and yeah, he's a rock star, literally. So I love that.
That's where you get some of it.
Right? I think maybe both of you could be in the movie of Hamilton.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, Jade, let's do it.
I'll take
just
that.
pushing that.
Perfect. Done.
I love it.
I love that. Well, I mean, also want to talk about Harvey's voice, because I didn't know that he had those pipes until watching Zoe's. And I was like, where did that come from? It was so amazing.
Oh, well, you and like I think the rest of the world, where people don't. I went to school for musical theater, but I really don't get to do it, as much as I want to. But I think it's a nice like secret and like something to have in your back pocket that people are like, I didn't know that. Or dancing, like people are like, that was a lot of dance. I was like, well, I hope so. I spent so many hours in dance classes. Some of it.
I love it. It was so good to see you in that space, because I know you didn't get a chance to do musicals for us. So
I know that was the one episode that I kept asking the creators of
really?
like, put me in, coach, put me in, coach. Like, it just wouldn't make sense because it's like the storylines wouldn't intertwine anyway. And by the time the last musical episode came, Benedict was in purgatory. So it's kind of like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you're like, okay, that's fine. I'm going off to this other show that is only musicals. So
I know. I was like, you'll see.
That's right.
And showed them.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, Jade, thank you so much for popping in.
Of course, just wanted to pop in, say hi, send my love. So happy to see you, Harvey, and all of your success. Just like celebrating you, and David, same. And hi, everyone. Good to see everyone's face again. Sending you all
Thank you,
so
Dave.
much love. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you. I love surprises.
Oh, that's so great. That felt like a very like, Harvey, this is your life.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I love doing that kind of stuff. Throughout a few of the Meet the Bizes, we had that, and we used to not do it in front of the whole class. So this was actually the first time I did it. Okay, how do you surprise somebody without them seeing and this and that? But usually it was just like one-on-one, and then all of a sudden somebody would pop on. So that
Well, that was nice. It was a nice surprise.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I mean, the two of you are amazing. What brings you joy in your life?
Watching my niece see new experiences or go through new experiences. I have a niece who just turned 9, but it's been a joy just to like introduce her to like Disneyland or the beach or snow, watching her see snow for the first time. And so that really does bring me joy. It gets me really excited. And not only necessarily with like family, but also with like friends that have never been introduced to certain things. I just recently took Kayvon, my co-star, to Disneyland for the first time, and he's an adult man. He'd never been, and he's like, "Oh man, I've always wanted to go. I want to go when I was little, but I didn't want, my parents didn't want like." So I said, "I'm going to take you," and I took him to Disneyland, and watching the joy on his face just like filled my heart. I was like, "Wow, this is so cool. I see why doing something for someone, and introducing them to something it's just." It's euphoric. It's like, oh wow, that's so cool. I get to like, that's how I felt when I first experienced this, and now you get to feel that. And I want to see how my face probably looked when I saw this for the first time. So it's always a nice experience. So I do get joy out of that, and I get joy also out of the great comments that people sent on social media about how important the work that I do is to them and how it helped them, and if it gets them through a rough patch, it really does, feel good to hear that, to know that what you're doing is creating a story and content and a comedy or whatnot, but that comedy can be saving someone's life. And so it's never lost on me that even though through comedy, we're healing and saving lives.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We have one of our wonderful performers here at Performing Arts Studio West, Teresa Tenario. Hello, Teresa.
Hi, David. Hi, Harvey. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you, Teresa?
Good. So lovely to meet you.
You too.
So my question is, what's the biggest, I'm talking about the biggest challenge in your career that you have to face, and how did you handle it?
Well, that's a good question. The biggest challenge, I guess, would be trying to get through the door and being seen as something that is a stereotype. And especially early on in my career, a lot of the auditions that I went to, my agent would word them differently because it was insulting. It was like, if you're Latino, it would be like gangbanger number 1, maid number 3. And for me, being a person of size, I remember one audition, my then manager was like, "Oh, he's one of the friends, he's a neighbor, he knows the guys there." So, and he was like adding all this element to it. I was like, "Oh, cool, that's nice." And then I get the sides, and literally the sides said, "Fat guy number 2."
Oh.
And I was like, what in the world? And I was like, and also that goes down to the writing. This was written by a writer, and the writer couldn't think of a name to give this human being, and they only saw them as this body and whatnot. And I was like, well, that's lazy writing. I hope those writers aren't writing anymore, because they're not good writers. If you're a good writer, every character is a human being that you're creating, and they have a name, they have a backstory. And when you categorize it because you're lazy as just, oh yeah, this guy's got fat guy number 1, or Mexican gangbanger number 3, like, it's like, try a little harder, and so for me, getting over that hurdle of like saying no to things was hard, because you're an actor, you want to work, you want to obviously have stability, and you got bills to pay. At the end of the day, it's like, unless you're constantly working, and even then, you got bills to pay, and people want to work, and so it's hard to say no to work because you just morally don't feel like it would be right to do it. But that was the biggest hurdle, was like getting over that, and feeling like it's okay if I don't, if I don't have enough money for rent this month, I'll figure it out, but I can't in good conscience, do this, because it'll make me, I'll always regret it, and it won't be worth it, and sure there's jobs that I've taken in the past where they were doable, but they weren't like necessarily problematic like that. They were more like not a great script, but I'll make it fun. And that's the thing, I'll make it fun. And so whenever I say, if you see any project in my early career that you're like, that one was, but you did great, and I was like, that's the goal. is that I'll go to any project, whether it's a $50 budget or a $50 million budget, you'll get the same performance out of me. And that's at the end of the day, your reputation will follow you. So you did good work in the low budget film that's not so great, and you did great work in the high budget film. So then you did good work all around. So at the end of the day, the only thing that changed was the budget of the project and maybe the way it was received as a whole. But your performance should never change. It should always be the best of your ability.
So I guess the question I'm gonna be asking is, what are your advice for people who's just starting with the acting and things like that?
I would say my advice, if you're just starting acting, is to continue to train, to always be doing something that it's like a muscle. So for me, it was improvising and taking improv classes. So I always, because I know that's what my genre and my field and my love is. It's just like comedy that's improvised. So I would always take classes improvising, and continue to do so. And like I said, you should do something like at least an hour or something for your career every day, whether that's revisiting your resume, whether it's researching a role, even watching a movie, a potential, like someone that you idolize and say like, that's good acting. So even, analyzing someone else's work and being like, that's really cool. I wonder how they got there. How would I get there? And like putting yourself in a position of like, if I were in those shoes, even if it's, an hour a day, I'd say really dedicate. If you're going to do this, you might as well do it full out and not kind of half-ass it. It's like, do it because you love it and because you can't imagine doing anything else. If it's a passion on the side, then do it for fun when you have time or whatnot. But if you really want to make a career out of it, you really have to commit to it fully.
Oh, thank you, Teresa.
Thank you. Thanks for answering my question.
Thank you, Teresa.
Have a great day.
We have one of our Meet the Biz family. I think he's in Florida now. Mr. Ralphie C.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Hi.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. Awesome. I wasn't sure. Yes, I'm in Florida, so there might be a lag, but.
How's it going, Ralphie?
Hear me? I'm alive and well and blessed. Thank you, baby Jesus. Salut, salut, salut. I have a few questions for you. Thank you, David, for inviting me on this. Again, hello, everybody. Now, your career, working, I've noticed, and I've did a little homework, you've worked with male and female directors. Now, have you noticed a difference between them personally or professionally at all? Is there a preference?
Yes, I feel like when I work with female directors, it's so weird because it's the business majority of male directors all the time, and that could get a little bit, for traditional standards of Hollywood, really rough around the edges and stern. And I guess you need that in a director, but I think you can convey that without necessarily being harsh, And I will say some of my favorite directors are female directors. We're lucky enough to have Yana Gorskaya on our show, who directs half of the season, and because we have one male director and one female director in our show, and I love both of them, and they're both very different, but there is a difference in the way they approach, and sometimes it's not necessarily that it's male or female, it's the person themselves. That personality could easily have been switched, and I would believe it, but it happens to be male and happens to be female. But Yana has become one of my favorite directors. She really listens to the actor. She really kind of hones in and has a conversation with you, and it makes a safe space for you to try something. I've also, had directors in the past who are male directors who sometimes you're like, I know 20 female directors that could do this job right now, but it's because they've been in business for like 45 years. But then you start listening to the way they're approaching the work, and I was like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. It's to the point where you're like, what? And so sometimes I think it's after a while you start realizing some people might be in a position of power by luck, just by luck. Just sometimes you're like, how did you get this job? And like, I used to be the assistant to blah blah, and then they died or whatever. And then I became, and it was like, you were at the right place at the right time, which is totally valid. And that's your journey. That's your journey. But after a while, people start realizing, like, when someone's an imposter, and you're like, wait a minute. It's like, and so there was one experience I had, like, early on in my career, with a film that never came out. It was a chaos. It was a shit show from the get-go. It was just so bad, and it was just early in my career, and I was like, I needed this money, and I was like, it's a comedy, I'll make it work. But this director would spend hours on scenes that made no sense, and I was like, this is just like a close-up of a doorknob,
Oh no.
And it was just like, we got the close. I was like, now let's do it again. And I was like, it's 5 hours, or it's almost lunchtime. We have 15 pages to do today. We haven't finished this one shot of a doorknob. And I was like, it has to be
your reflection in the doorknob.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man. And so then you start, and then the proof was in the pudding. That movie never came out, thank God. It was just like, it was chaotic. It was you could just tell when something's like a professionally done thing. You don't have to have a big budget to do something professional. You can have a low budget and make a masterpiece. It's the people who are running the ship that set the tone, and the actors. And so if your producer and your writers and your directors are, we don't care, or like, or like, if you could just tell they're not the same caliber, then it's gonna trickle down, And so I was excited and lucky enough that I've been on sets, specifically very, in the last, several years, that everyone is firing on all cylinders. The directors, the writers, the producers, the actors, and that's when you've made it. You're like, oh man, everyone's good. And like the editors, the costumes, the script supervisor, like everyone is the best at their craft. And now you're in a group of the best of the best. And then the best of the best are now next and like, competing with the best of the best from other shows. And then the best of the best of the best of the best gets selected to represent the best of the best at award or something. And then
that's what you and you got that the other night. You got an award.
Oh yeah, we won the Hollywood Critics Association Best Comedy. So there you go. You're
Salud.
Gracias. You're in a room that's oozing talent. In a room, like, you're looking around, you're like, what? There's like Sarah Paulson, and there's from the whole casting and crew of Abbott Elementary, which have been so supportive, and so lovely. And you're just looking around, you're like, these are the best of the best. These are the best shows on television. These are the best actors working today. And now we're in the same room and we are equals.
The room where it happens.
Salud. Orgullo Latino. That's right. You got it. Salud, salud, salud.
Thank you, Ralphie. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
I love it. What a great question, and what an amazing answer. I know we're coming up to the last stretch, so I'm going to get a couple more questions in from some of our students and our actors and our performers. Let's bring on Natalie Oden, the beautiful, the talented Natalie Oden.
Hello, Natalie.
All right. My question is, what was your favorite episode for What We Do in the Shadows?
Okay, so my favorite episode of What We Do in the Shadows for this season, I would have to say I have two for different reasons, and they've already aired. One of them being last night. One of them aired, which is the coming out episode for Guillermo. He finally comes out to his family, and it was a huge deal because it was kind of a flashback to me and my personal experience, because Guillermo is of Mexican descent and his family is very Catholic and Mexican and religious and whatnot, and I could relate to that as my own personal journey. So it was very kind of like therapeutic to shoot a scene that was very close to my personal experience and very much the story arc for Guillermo that needed to be unfolded this season. I think after 4 seasons, it was a perfect time to show that. And the other episode that I really love this season is the night market episode, which aired, I think it was episode 4 or 5 of this season, just because it was our biggest episode to date. I get to do like all these new stunts, and I love doing stunts, and I love proving people that people of size can do stunts. And I really loved that episode just from beginning to end. It was so funny, so well written. But I really do. I would say those two episodes are my favorite. And last night's episode was written by Sarah Naftalis, who writes some of my favorite Guillermo moments. So Sarah, shout out to Sarah Naftalis, who is an amazing writer and our EP on our show.
Oh.
Great.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thanks, Natalie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie.
We have Gary Tewksbury. There he is.
Thank you, David. Hi.
Hi, Gary.
Hey, Harvey. How's it going today?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. My question is two parts. How did you get the part in the internship, and what was it like doing scenes with Max Minghella?
So that's a story too. So the internship, I had an audition, and it was basically the role wasn't right for me. I knew that when I read in the script, I was like, oh, this is very specific to what they're looking for. And I was like, but you know what? I'm gonna go in and audition. I'm gonna do it the way that I think this character would be in my space, in my vessel, and my voice and everything. And I just went in there and did it. And I remember the director just laughing on the floor, like just laughing on the floor. And then I realized I didn't get the part in that room right there and then. I realized I didn't get the part, not because I wasn't good at acting. It was that I didn't win the part, I won the room. And so you want to book the part, obviously, but what you really want to do is you want to book the room. You want everyone in that room to remember when you left of the work that you did. So even though you weren't the right part for this character or the right person for this part, they'll always remember you. And so I walked out of that room knowing, I was like, I know that character's not for me, but he had a good laugh. He's gonna remember. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, I was in New Orleans filming another movie, and I got the call that the director had written a part for me in the internship. So that role never existed. They wrote it for me after my audition. And then it proved my point. You know, your goal is to always book the room. Yes, getting the part is the ultimate goal, you know, but your real goal is always book the room. If you leave booking the room, you did your job as an actor. If you book the room every time, you did your job as an actor. And everything else out of that is out of your hands because you weren't tall enough, you didn't have blonde hair, they couldn't see you with the wig, they couldn't imagine you looking older. That's out of your control. Like that will always be their point of view of what they're thinking and their internal monologue that you can't change. They're going to see you the way they're going to see you, but what they can't change ever is how you made them feel in the room. And in the room, you control that. And you control the narrative with your performance. To when you walk out and be like, I know you're not going to be able to twist that performance because I left everything in here. You can take it and you leave it in your memory bank for another day. Have a good day and goodbye.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, Gary.
It's my birthday today, David.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
I love that. It's my dad's birthday too. He is.
I remember you told me that, yes, a while back, a year back, yeah.
So happy birthday. That makes
Thank
me
you.
Oh, happy birthday, Gary. Have a good day and a good week.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Harvey, what do you want the most at this moment in your life?
I think what I want the most at this moment in my life is to be able to use more of my art and creativity to change some of the direction that we're going as a society and as acceptance and in love and in tolerance. Because it seems like sometimes we're making progress and then we're going, 5 steps forward, 10 steps back. And so would love to continue just keep taking steps forward. No more taking steps back. So I think I'd love that. And aside from that being like a major goal, I like to spend more time with my family, it's been so busy lately, which is good because for so long it wasn't busy. So then you miss the things that you had every day organically. So, you know, really enjoy your time with your family, really enjoy and make time, because then it's like the year's gone and you're like, where did the year go? But I think I'm getting better at managing my schedule and managing family time, because I'll it's either family, I'm with family, or I'm working. It's going to be one or the other, which is a good thing to be. It's the good opposites, you know. And so, yeah, I'm going to plan to spend more time. We just went to Disneyland for my niece's birthday like 2 days ago, and that was so fun. It reminded me of, oh yeah, we should do more vacations and we should do more fun stuff. So, but yeah, I think those are good things and good goals that are attainable.
Yeah. Thank you for being a blessing and for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and you know, whenever we open and you have a free moment, which you probably won't because you're always working and having fun with the family. But if you ever want to stop by Performing Arts, even to have lunch with us, we'd love it.
That sounds good. Sounds like a plan.